Looks like a time. Sure. Okay, great. Okay, well, I think we're going to get started because we start time at 11:15, so we don't want to cut this short. But welcome to one of your first sessions at the PSPP hashtag CLE. And glad you could come to this. I have the distinct pleasure of introducing three incredible organizations in the Cleveland area that partner quite a bit with private and public institutions. And all three have had a huge impact on HB and what we do here. Two of them we call our own, kind of, because one is a past parent and one is a former employee that we were all devastated to lose, but at least he went to a great organization, so we'll have that. But really incredibly powerful programs. So I'll let them speak for themselves about the specifics of their program, but first we have Amy Rosenbluth, and she is from Lake Erie, Inc. And I was reading on your website, I mean, I've known about your organization for a long time and what you do with HB, but I love that you were saying increased self-expression equals increased self-confidence and self-esteem.
Yeah.
And I loved that about it, so I hope you'll enjoy hearing from Amy. And then we've got Mark Swain Fox, who again, like I said, we like to kind of who is at Facing History Ourselves and helping students really connecting history with choices they make every day. It's an incredible program if you don't know much about it. After this talk, I would say stay and talk to them more about it. And then we've got Lee Lazar, who's coming from the Rainey Institute, which is terrific in Cleveland and just so highly regarded, and it really encourages participation in visual and performing arts. And there's a lot of girls who have taken advantage of that, and again, bringing the arts back to schools and really connecting them with the creative side of themselves. So I'll let them speak, and I will, anything you need when you're ready for the video, I will hit it. Enjoy.
Thank you. So welcome, I guess, everybody. My name is Amy Rosenbluth, and I'm Executive Director and one of the co-founders of Lake Erie, Inc. And the mission's up there, and I'm just going to do a quick kind of scroll through some of the slides. I don't want to talk at all of them, but just so you guys get an understanding, we are a small nonprofit located in Cleveland Heights, and we provide creative expression opportunities for youth throughout Greater Cleveland. And this is the way we do it. So we have a lot of programs that we run on our own site, and those, the Ink Spot, Evening Ink, and Weekend Ink, and Summer are all take place at our own site. And then we do a lot of off-site programs as well. And we also work in the community, in schools, and in different youth-serving organizations. And you guys can kind of read it a little bit. This is a good picture of our space. Our Ink Spot after-school program serves primarily 4th through 6th graders. And one of our goals is to engage and enrich their experience with the arts as a way to build literacy. And we do that by bringing in a lot of, but we bring in a lot of guest artists and guest writers, and volunteers are a huge component of that. This is one of our high school volunteers in our after-school program, Cal. These are some of our teams. So we work with kids K through 12, and our teen programs, open mics, college writing, personal narrative. So our volunteers are critical to what we do, not only in the after-school program, but in just kind of enriching and expanding our organizational picture. They bring an incredible, diverse array of experiences for our kids to learn from, and I'll talk a little bit more about it, but I also witnessed incredible growth in our volunteers from what they witness, the children they work with, and the programs they are engaged in. Okay, here's our video. It's not super loud, and this is completely student produced. That's all I'm saying.
We tried to get it louder, bear with us. No crinkling of snacks.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, don't open the cheetahs.
What is your name? Hi, my name is Christina, and I'm RL. I'm 17 years old. I'm also 17. What do you do? I'm in 11th grade at Acme Ground. I'm a kid at Acme Ground, and we're volunteers at Lake Erie, where we, work with the kids to help them with their homework, help them with writing exercises, I guess everyone I was looking for something to do with my time during the school year, and I thought it'd be a really great place to do a little bit of service and also have some fun.
Would you recommend other students at your school to volunteer? Why or why not?
Definitely recommend other students to volunteer here. Such like a unique opportunity to not like have that role as like being a friend to the kids, but also being able to like learn how to like work with children other than your age, like be able to teach something you're passionate about. Yeah, she said.
What kind of project do you think should do or attend to?
I really like all the partnering with music. I think those are really fun. And also, when I was here over the summer camp, going to like work in a theater too, I think like the kids bring out another side of themselves. So. Yeah, I definitely think that the guests who are visiting is helping inspire them a lot, and I know that they're having a lot of fun. Unfortunately, I was in the summer camps, but I've heard that everyone enjoyed themselves a lot, so I think those are definitely good. Thank you.
Okay, Gabe is a fourth grader at the Ink Spot. There's just a few more. So our volunteers are really critical. I would say in the last, we are in our 5th year of existence, and we have had 75 active volunteers. And what I mean by that is not, I mean, we probably have seen 150, but a lot of our volunteers maybe come for one event, and they might help in one thing. So 75 is really the number of volunteers who repeatedly come back, who are doing direct work with our kids. And of that group, you can kind of see it broken out. Now that 1/3 is the high school age, then the 2/3 is from that high school and halfway down. And our Halfway Brown group primarily comes from our partnership with Stephanie Heidemann and the community service classes. We have just been so honored really to be included in that relationship where the kids come, some of the Halfway Brown students come to us and we talk about what it means to be a small nonprofit. As a founder of Lake Erie Inc., I'm able to give them way more information about the struggle of it, probably, than they might have been prepared for, but they really get a very good picture of what we do. And because we serve youth year-round, we have a lot of volunteers who come to our summer camps. We have volunteers in our after-school program. We also run monthly weekend programs. Next week we have a Comic-Con for kids. It's an 8-hour day. So we really, really rely on our volunteers. You do not need to read all of this. I just wanted to share a few things. This is a student from another local private school, Montessori High School. She was with us for 2 years. And she came 2 days a week for 2 years. And one of the things that we really push and promote with all of our volunteers is, what do you want to teach? What would you like to do? And we are a creative writing center, so obviously writing is first and foremost. And if they have a particular project that they've learned in their own class, we encourage them to bring it into our group. And this was, Savannah is also a Halfway Brown student. She was with us during the summer. And she bonded with her campers over books. She loved it. She loved talking about books, and she was in our camp that we were doing zine making and little book making, and she just really. So, I just want to see what that last one. So I guess one of the things that I wanted to, I don't want to take up too much more time, but we really are connected with Halfway Brown and other private schools in Cleveland in 3 ways. Obviously, the volunteers is the most critical for us. But we also, because we serve youth, we also invite and encourage students who might volunteer with us to participate in our programs. And when that happens, it is a beautiful thing, because what happens is our youth come from all over the city. So high school students are meeting kids from different neighborhoods, different communities, different school situations, and we have witnessed over and over again a shift of perception of one another. You know, this is what a private school kid looks like. This is what a public school kid looks like. This is what a kid who's homeschooled looks like. And what happens in some of our programming is what happens is they just look at each other as writers and as creators, they kind of let go of all the other stuff. And it's a non-competitive, it's not like a sporting thing where they're pitted against one another. They're really working collaboratively. In our summer camps, we have probably 12 high school students from all over who are camp counselors. Again, they're working collaboratively to help keep control over our kids, over the campers, and the relationship that we witness is very powerful. The second thing or the third thing would be professional development. We've run some workshops here at Hathaway Brown. We do run professional development around, that's part of our goal as an organization. We've done some work with the Teachers in the Inspire program. We've also done some of the community programs here at Hathaway Brown, where we just sort of share what we do as a nonprofit and as a creative writing center. And what I see, the most important changes, I guess, that I see is a sense of responsibility for the students who are involved with us, and again, that shift in perception. So, you know, Ariel and Christina, I mean, they just keep coming back, and Savannah keeps coming, people keep coming back, which, you know, as anybody knows, I mean, that's a sign that something's working for them. But a lot of times when the students first start with us, they're a little nervous. They don't know what to expect from the children, either their age, their development, their skills. Our students are a real wide range of demographics. We have some kids who are gifted and just going, you know, full guns with creative expression, and we have kids who are struggling readers and writers. And so they're really learning a lot about how to kind of be in a larger community. And lastly, increased confidence. Because all of our volunteers do what we ask the kids to do. So when we're all writing haikus, they're writing haikus. When we're writing zines, our volunteers are writing zines. And so their own creative work is happening. It's just an assumption that you will do what the kids do. So I'm gonna wrap it up. Am I good?
You are right on time. Do it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to switch the slides, and we'll also have time at the end for questions as well, but I'm just going to switch over here, so ask away.
Teen open mic, I saw that.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. We run them about once a month, and our next one is March 18th. They're usually on a Friday night. Sometimes they're at our own site, and sometimes we do them off-site. So we do pop-ups in different cafes. We've been going to the Heights Music Shop on Lee Road and doing them. They're open to all teens 6th grade through 12th grade. They're free. We have pizza. The kids write, and they listen to each other. And it's primarily poetry or other writing. We've had some kids stand up and read their essays for college. I mean, seriously, because they're wonderful, wonderful stories, and that's what they've written, and that's what they want to share.
Now I'd like the power of the
clicker.
You officially have it.
Yeah. So, hi, everybody, I'm Mark. I work with Facing History. I have been there 16 years, but prior to that I taught in private schools. Well, I taught for 10 years. I taught 8 of those years I was in private schools. So I just want to thank you all, because I know the power and the impact of independent schools can have on children. So, and I just want to thank Sarah and HB for inviting me to this conference. I'm humbled to be on this panel. I've worked with both of them in different capacities, and they're incredible organizations. Amy's worked with some of the students. Lee is just going to connect with a student in Cleveland, so I really am humbled to be here. So I have 3 goals for my time, and Sarah, please keep me to my time, because I could. Because I'll get rolling. So I want to sort of give a brief overview of what Facing History is and what we do, but then for this conference I want to share a new initiative we have that we're launching this year about creating a school network that's bridging different school communities that I think are relevant. That's relevant for this conference. So, and I need notes, otherwise I'll forget and go off task. So if you don't mind me looking up and down sometimes. So I think right now, we do professional development for middle and high school teachers. And I think now more than ever, there's a need for the work of facing history. I look out at our public discourse right now, and I just hear shouting and not a lot of listening. I see a lot of fear mongering. I see a lot of hatred. I see violence. And at Facing History, we actually believe schools can be the inoculation to these issues to create healthy democracies, and that's what we do. We provide resources to get kids, to teachers, to have kids think critically about their world. Not be afraid of complexity. We work to build empathy in young people. We provide resources to nurture and build communities and collaboration across communities. And we inspire agency in young people. That's sort of our broad 20,000 feet mission. So I'm going to share just a very 30-second, can we go to the clip, sir? All right. It's a 30-second promo piece, just to give you a little flavor of that 20,000 feet of what our mission is all about. You'll probably recognize the gentleman who's on the screen.
Coming. Know what that means?
Sounds good.
Usually just click yes if I don't.
Yeah.
What if you could see with someone else's eyes, listen with someone else's ears, walk in someone else's shoes? Would you make decisions differently? Would you better understand how your choices affect others, how their choices affect you, and how together we all affect history? People make choices, choices make history.
Oops, sorry. Love his voice, don't you? So that's sort of what we're trying to do. We have these lofty goals to shape the world, I think, and we do believe that schools are the place to do it. So I've been reading this book. I don't know if anybody's read this book. It's about Jeffrey Colvin has sort of taking a survey of all these sort of Fortune 500 companies, and they're going to the CEOs and saying, what do we need from our young people in the future, in this technological age we're in, where computers are replacing human beings? And he's actually saying, we actually need, right now, we need critical thinkers. We need people who can work with difference across different boundaries, different parts of the world. We need people who can collaborate with one another, not be afraid of difference. So I actually think our work is really primed right now. So how do we go about doing it? What we do is we bring teachers, and there are a couple of teachers in this room who've actually come to some of our workshops before, to a face-to-face workshop where we take a piece of content, academic rigor. We're a curricular-based organization. We work in schools around a piece of content. We have tons of pieces of content, right? And we provide a methodology. I'll give you two examples. One, so we just wrote a guide on To Kill a Mockingbird, the most read book in America. And we just published a new resource on Reconstruction in America. Unfortunately, not taught enough in our country. But like the Civil Rights Movement, we look at the Holocaust. But we do it through this sort of lens, this pedagogy, is that we look at it and ask kids to be emotionally engaged in the content. So we ask them, who am I in the stories I'm reading, right? Who am I as a person? Who are these characters that are shaping history or a novel? But not just who are they, what choices are they making, right? You heard our tagline. What choices do they make, and how does that influence or like the choices I make? Not what would I have done in that time period, but what is influencing people in that time period? And then ultimately, we ask kids to think about, now that you've learned this and had some reflection on a piece of time period, when you go deep, what's my sense of agency? What's my responsibility in the world? So that's sort of what we do. We train teachers we have 10 regional offices across the world. 8 of them are in the United States. But we also have a huge online presence. So hopefully during the Q&A, we'll hear where you guys are from. If you're not in one of our regional offices, you still can participate with our work, because we do a lot of training online. So teachers then go back, bring this into their school. So what we've learned, what we found in the research, I appreciate Amy's comments about what you learn is, what's the evidence? What we found, and we've done we're 40 years old as an organization. We're based in Brookline, Massachusetts. Cleveland's had an office for about 17 years. So it starts here with these sort of the PD we do and the resources teachers bring back. What are the initial outcomes? Well, we found teachers are more efficacious in what they teach. That's a powerful impact. And so when they implement, the classroom climate changes a little bit. When you're talking about issues of empathy, issues of choice making, moral decision making, climate shifts a little bit and it impacts students. And we found three major areas our students improve. One is the social emotional learning skills. That's that Jeff Colvin stuff we're talking about, right? How we can listen to one another, we can build empathy, we can think about our choices and decisions. Academic, we found kids that take facing history versus those who don't are more academically engaged, and they also have better critical thinking and historical understanding skills. Great Common Core stuff. And then kids who take facing history have civic competencies. They not only believe their choices matter, but they actually participate. They actually go and do something about it. So that's sort of what we've learned over 30 years. So this is the story that brings me to this conference. That's who we are. So we had this, for about 15 years ago, we were really intrigued by this impact in the classroom. We started saying, what if we could think about schools? What if we sort of extended beyond the humanities curriculum where we live? What if we valued and were intentional about building those kind of values in a whole school system? So 16 years ago in Manhattan, we got a Gates-funded grant to start a laboratory school in Hell's Kitchen called the Facing History School. And what we did was we continued to do that curricular work, right, for the humanities teachers with our units, like these. But then we were intentional about, let's write an advisory curriculum around identity, around empathy, around choice making. So every kid, every teacher's involved. Every teacher gets trained. Even if you're not going to teach the Holocaust or Reconstruction, you have those values. We built speaker series, so there's touches throughout the year, people who come in who are connected to these values. Service projects, capstone, that agency piece, we do sort of senior capstone courses in our schools. So it was wildly successful, right? So then we, as an organization, started building out. Let's go out throughout the country in the regions we're in and see if schools, we're not going to start new schools, we're not a school charter organization, we're going to go to schools that exist and see if they want to partner with us and begin to embed facing history through that whole school model. Right now we have 80 schools in the country that are doing this, and they convene every other year in a centrally located place. There are private schools in that in that cohort. There are public schools in that cohort. There's charters. So I run the local office of Cleveland. I had an idea to say, what if we could create our own network here in Cleveland? I love the national idea, and we'll continue to do that. What if we find some schools here in Cleveland that want, geography is easy. We can convene very easily if we're together. So we have launched we are launching a network we have 7 schools right now that we're working in depth with. 3 are just about to come on. And let me tell you so there's 2 private schools in the Cleveland area that are going to be a part of this network, 2 urban charter schools, 2 parochial schools, a Jewish day school, a Catholic school, and 4 public high schools that are going to be part of this network. And we're convening 3 times a year. One, we're going to bring all stakeholders. We're going to bring parents, and we're going to have a lecture series for the parents and the students. Then during the middle of the year, we're going to convene and share best practices. So the teachers and the administrators will come together and really hone their craft a little bit around these values. And then we'll have a celebration at the end of the year. How am I doing, Sarah? How much time?
You got 2, but you're so good.
All right. I'm going. So what's exciting about the network, I think, is that what I think the power for the network is, what this conference is all about, right? It's like we're going to break down barriers. We're going to learn from each other. I think the reason we're having so much trouble is we're in siloed communities. Our nation is so divided. So this gives us an opportunity to bridge that. So for instance, there's a school in Cleveland right now that we started. It's called Facing History New Tech High School. And it's a Cleveland public school, and they're practicing these incredible restorative justice practices, right? So wouldn't it be great if they came, presented that at a conference, and they learned from an independent school, because you guys can go deep and really be creative with curriculum. So we have 2 independent schools that are doing Facing History in incredible ways. They can learn from each other. At a Catholic school on the west side, we have an adult learning community called Facing Ourselves Community. So the adults need to own their stuff and think about these issues. So it's really cool. So they're all going to come together and share. And there's a student leadership component too. So it's not just the adults going across. We have the students leading conversations with each other, like the power you saw in Amy's work, doing that too. So that's sort of where we're going. I think bridging these communities, breaking down barriers, and building teacher effectiveness is our goal. Stay tuned. We'll see how it goes. I have my card here and a flyer about our information for after. Did I make it?
You did it.
Yes.
You did it. It's so intoxicating, it's hard to cut you off. So
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Hi, everybody. I'm Lee Lazar from Rainey Institute, and I'm also honored to be part of this program today, and I'm honored to be on this panel with two great colleagues. Because I'm old and old-fashioned, I'm going to just talk to you today. I'm not going to use any electronics. I'm going to do this the old-fashioned way. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Rainey Institute and what we do. And then I'm going to talk to you about some of the partnerships we have in terms of some of the ways that we serve kids. And also some of the partnerships that we've developed to help us serve kids in even better ways. So Rainey Institute is a community arts center in Cleveland. We provide arts education programs for kids in Cleveland. We provide programs in music, dance, drama, visual arts. And we currently serve about 1,800 kids per year between the ages of 1 and 18. We want to help kids in Cleveland connect to positive, enriching arts activities and stay away from some of the other challenges that exist for them. We're not in the business of trying to create professional artists or musicians, although we have helped to create some. We're in the business of trying to create successful citizens, and we do it through the arts. As an organization, we've been around a long time. So we've been serving our community since 1904. I've not been there the whole time. But we're on East 55th Street in Cleveland, and we focus on serving the kids who need us the most in the urban community. In terms of programs that we provide during the school year, weekdays we collaborate with neighborhood preschools, and neighborhood preschools bring kids to us for a 90-minute art session. 30 minutes arts and crafts, 30 minutes music, 30 minutes gymnastics, dance. Midday we provide classes for homeschool kids. After school we have 110 kids who come to us every day, anywhere between from 2:30 to 6, depending upon where they go to school and how they get to us. We have 2 separate after-school programs. Our arts enrichment program gives kids a taste of music, dance, drama, visual arts. Our second after-school program is called El Sistema at Rainey. It's an intensive orchestra music program, and kids receive 90 minutes of daily instruction in violin, viola, cello, or bass. On Saturdays, we have arts classes throughout the day, as well as offering private music and voice lessons to children. During the summer, we have a summer camp program with 220 kids between the ages of 5 and 14. In addition to programs that we do at Rainey, we're doing more and more programs out into the community. So I'm going to shift now and talk about some of those community collaborations in which we serve kids outside of our building. About 3 years ago, the Cleveland School District, with help from United Way, decided that the school district was going to transform initially the 15 Cleveland investment schools. Investment schools is a nice title for the lowest performing schools in Cleveland. And by transforming those schools, they were going to create a community school model or a wraparound school program. And for each of those 15 schools, community organizations could apply to become the community partner for the school. So there's an elementary school 3/4 of a mile away from us, Case Elementary School. We applied to be the community partner for that school. The school, the principal, the teachers, and parents in the school selected us to be their partner. We hired a full-time person called a site coordinator who we put into the school. And Allison is a social worker by profession. And as the community partner, our role is to bring community resources to the school to help kids and their families. So it's more than just arts. It's tutoring programs, it's after-school programs, it's healthy living programs, it's food giveaway programs. It's amassing the resources in the greater Cleveland community and bringing those resources to the school to help kids and their families. Another interesting partnership we started a little over a year ago. I mentioned earlier our El Sistema Orchestra music program. We now have 55 kids who come to Rainey every day for that program, and that was the maximum number that we could serve. So we wanted to reach more kids. So we partnered with Campus International School, a new CMSD school on the Cleveland State campus, and we partnered with the Cleveland State Department of Music and Music Education. And we started an El Sistema program at Campus International School. We now have 12 kids involved with that program, and it's just another unique sort of partnership. A third new partnership for us in the past year and a half, we've collaborated with the East Cleveland School District, and we first started providing after-school arts programs in the East Cleveland Middle School, and then that grew to providing summer arts and enrichment programs for the East Cleveland Summer Enrichment Program. So we partnered directly with the school district to provide an arts connection for kids in schools in East Cleveland. So between being the community partner for CASE, with starting the El Sistema program at Campus International and East Cleveland, we're partnering with schools and school districts to help connect kids to the arts. One of the other things we realized about 3 years ago, as a small nonprofit organization, we have limited resources. So we realized to be able to do more for more kids,